Everyone, Dave Barnum here with the second part of my 53 Bridges talk entitled Stops. And yesterday I was at Timmy's and I'm back at Timmy's making another stop, getting a cup of Joe, but I also got a little treat. Come here, buddy. I brought my buddy here. He loves these treats that they give out at Timmy's. That's for you, bud. Come on over here. Go ahead. There you go. Go enjoy that, okay? Yesterday I talked about breaking my ankle in 1978 because I didn't listen to my coach and stop at third base. Well, I want to move the calendar forward to the year 1980, and it was August the 8th to be more specific. And this is a day that fortunately I had an opportunity to make a stop. Now here's what happened. I'll set the scene for you. It's around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm on my main street of Mississauga in Orillia, Ontario, and I'm with a group of really infamous guys known for some real bad stuff. And we're all high. And I mean, if the 2 years before I just had an ankle that was broken and in a cast, my entire life was in a cast at this point. I dropped out of high school. I was working in a tough context on the Canadian Pacific Railway. I probably had more money than what I knew what to do with. And I ended up with this group of guys. My relationships were broken. I was struggling with alcohol. And as I said, we were high this day and I was on drugs. And anyway, our plan was, and Genius' plan was, to boost a car, take off for the city of Toronto, which a couple weeks before this, I had already had a drug deal go bad, and that was potentially very dangerous that I got out of that situation. And here I was turning around and going right back towards some really negative behavior. But anyway, when we were about to cross the street, the light turned amber, and we all decided not to jaywalk. Well, this group was notorious for a lot of stuff, but jaywalking was not at the top of the list, let me put it that way. And inside at this moment, I really felt a lot of fear, and I heard a voice. Now, you guys have heard me talk about hearing voices. I did. I heard a voice, and it said, "Go home." And the thought was, there may be no turning back. You're in a lot of potential trouble here. So I came up with an idea because I was fearful. I didn't know how to get away from this group of guys. And I looked over to my left, and there was a buddy that I knew had stopped his car. So I came up with this ingenious idea. I said, guys, because one of us was wanted by the police, I said, so we don't have to wait in line at the bank, because I'm the only one that had money. I'll go up to the bank with my buddy. By the time you guys get there, we can be on our merry way. I'll get the money out, yada, yada, yada. They said, fine. So I jumped in the car. I told my pal, take off. I got out of the car, and I went immediately home. And I called my parents because I was in a lot of trouble and I didn't know what direction to take in life. I asked for forgiveness, and a lot of folks that know me know that that was the transformational day and moment of my entire life. And I want to say thank you today publicly, because the man in the car was my third base coach. It was Steve Waters. Recently, I talked to Steve, and I phoned him and I asked him, could I share this story? I said, Steve, do you remember that day you picked me up? And he said, Dave, to be honest, I don't remember that story. I said, do you remember 2 years earlier, almost 40 years ago? I talked to Steve just the other day. Almost 40 years ago, I said, do you remember the day you held me up at third base? I ran through the sign and I collided into home. I slid into home, broke my leg, yada, yada, yada. He says, oh yeah, I remember that, Dave. You see, folks, here's how it is. Our steps are far more exciting than the ordinary stops of our lives. Steve remembered that, me not stopping, because it was catastrophic to me. I was out at home. It was a big playoff game. He remembered that, but he didn't remember the stop that he made and that I made that helped get me home in life and got me home for the rest of my entire life. Because you see, stops are like this, folks. We have to be still sometimes, and we have to be peaceful. We have to talk to people and get advice and counsel. We have to consider our options, and then we need to move forward in peace, because if we don't, the right decision at the wrong time, running that red, can really wreak havoc in our lives. So Stevie Waters, thank you. And thank you for stopping. I'm thankful that I stopped, and I'm thankful that you didn't even know it, but you waved me home that day. And this is the only time, folks, you're hardly ever going to see something like this with a guy that bleeds red, white, and blue to a guy that I know bleeds blue and white because his brother, Billy Waters, was the assistant general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs and was a longtime broadcast voice, I believe radio broadcast voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And today, Stevie, this only time, I salute the blue and white and I say thank you because you helped save the biggest Hab fan of all time. And you were involved in changing my entire life. So, folks, remember, the stops are really important. Till the next time I see you or the next time we speak, remember, everyone, please make sure you keep your hearts and souls sweet. Bye-bye.